Okay, so if you want to turn everything white, first off, make sure your iPad or tablet doesn't have the night light settings. That might make things look warm or sort of orange. Let's start with the background, this yellow. Let's make that white. So you just tap here, tap this color. You can change it whatever color you want, but we're going to make it white. And I usually sculpt in matcap. Don't worry if you don't know what that is. Everything should be in lit PBR when you want to color. So I'm in lit PBR right now. All of these, anything you can tap on and then press here, and then just go to white. Alternatively, you can select all of these in the scene menu, even the floor and everything, and then just go to white, and you can paint it white. Now you see that it's like more grayish rather than white, and that has to do with the environment and the lighting and things like that. So if we go to the lighting menu, you see I have a light. I'm just going to delete it so everything is dark, and we need some ambient light. Ambient light is from the environment. So if we tap environment, you'll see that things are more white, but they're a little bluish. And that's because there's a little bit of bluish in the sky. If we tap here, we can adjust. See here, this is a darker interior room, so the shadows and everything are darker. It's more gray. So go through and you'll see that these will give various shades of white. This is white, but it's more very, very warm. So I usually use my own, which is here. It's kind of white, but it has some warm undertones on the bottom. I'll try to stick with one that's just like a default one. And you can see that it's pretty much white. So one thing you can do is go to post-process. And post-process will just give you more of a look of how it's going to look when it's finished. So I have a white floor here. So the light is actually bouncing off the floor and making the underside more white. You can also go to ambient occlusion here, and you can turn this down. Ambient occlusion is the shadows from the ambient light, things like that. So if they're up, then it's going to be more gray. You can turn it down and it's going to be white. You can play with these as well. So that's even more white. You can also add in lights. So for example, see I can move it around. There's still some shadows. You can, let's say, add a light kind of facing the front. That makes it look white. You can clone this light, and then you can maybe make one, in another direction to try and stop the shadows from having it look gray. But you kind of get the idea. So you can use lights and things like that all to make things look very, very white. But obviously this is way too white. So what I would do is first I would take the environment, maybe lower the exposure. You can lower it so it's not so bright. I would get rid of one of these lights. And this one, maybe lower it or so. But you really want to have some shadows because that's going to give whatever you're making some depth. I don't usually use all white. I think more of a gray color is a little bit nicer. For example, even if the character is supposed to be white, you can have a darker background and then your character will look white. Even the floor, I'll change the floor to be like a darker color. So that will make whatever your character is stand out and be more white. If the shadows are really dark, like these shadows are really dark, you can, let's say, we'll take the body and use subsurface. So that means light will go through whatever your model is. Oh, it's already subsurface. So subsurface, and you can change the depth a bit to kind of get rid of, like it'll just be much softer, but you're still losing a lot of details. So that's the trade-off. If you put it all the way down, you can kind of see a little bit more of the details. But once you use the subsurface and start putting it all the way up, it's really going to get rid of those shadows and it's going to become almost clear and translucent. So that's another way, but white is kind of just like relative. So there's the color white, but then everything else is the environment, the lights, all that has to do with why things look white and why they don't. And again, if you make the background darker, whatever is white in your scene will appear brighter. I'm gonna go put this little dragon on my Patreon in case you guys wanna print it or something like that. You can check out my Patreon and it'll be there. All right, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video. I think I uploaded this Godzilla STL and some other STLs. I'm uploading them all to Patreon. It's gonna take me a while to get a bunch up there, but I'm just gonna start uploading a bunch of stuff to Patreon because why not? A lot of people want the STLs and things like that. If you want the files and stuff, just let me know. I'm gonna put everything on my Patreon. Thank you guys so much for watching the video.
be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to go more in depth, then definitely check out my Skillshare classes where I am a top teacher. I have about 50 classes, both Procreate and Nomad Sculpt. I also have a few classes on Udemy, so if you want to learn more, or you just like my style, you like the way I teach, you want to support me, those are some other places that you can do it. Thanks again, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.